Hey guys, this is Hot Noob here. So the other day I got a request from the neighborhood skid about how to do HTML or whatever, right? And JavaScript and whatever. HTML isn't really a programming language per se. It is a markup language. So it's like XML. It's a way of storing information and telling your computer what to do. In the case of HTML, it's actually telling your browser what to do. So I'm just going to get rid of all of this here so we can start from scratch. The first thing you need for every HTML document is the HTML tag. Now, some browsers will put this in if you don't have it, but I recommend that you always have the HTML tag. The next one is the head tag. Now, this isn't actually like the head or the top of the document. If you were to put something in here, it would actually write it in the top of your page. But modern browsers and whatever, most of the time you're going to be just using it for your title tags and putting in any information that needs to be preloaded before the actual page starts to load. So the way tags work is pretty simple. You have your tag name, right? And then you have your closing tag, right? And the closing tag would be the tag name with a backslash before, or yeah, with a slash before it. Sorry, right? It's pretty simple, pattern. So in the case of the title, what you want to do is you want to put the title of the page in between the tags. So my page or whatever, right? And then I'm going to save this so you guys can see the results. My page, and you don't need a server to run to open up HTML documents. You do, however, need a server to run PHP documents and stuff like that. But that's completely different. So my page, here we are. You can open this. You can open it with any browser, and you can use the extension .htm or .html. And as you can see here, the title is my page. So the next bit that you're probably going to be putting in your head is the script tags, right? Let's say you want to check if the URL or whatever, right? So if window.location does not equal LOL or whatever, then alert. I'll make this easier and won't use the shortcut. Then you want to alert this is not the correct location, and then window.stop. Right? Let's say you don't want the rest of the page to load, so don't load this, right? So you'd refresh it. This is not the correct location, then it won't load it, right? That's one of the reasons. That's one of the instances where you want to have the script loading ahead before everything else. You'll want to put your style sheets, your meta tags, pretty much whatever you want your browser to load first. The head tags are actually becoming pretty obsolete nowadays. They're the only real like you don't need them most of the time. Anyway, here is the body tag. So as you can guess, this is where you put all of your contents. Yeah. And I'm going to show you the placement differences between the head and the body. Head, right? And oh, I guess they changed it, but in the older browsers it would create sort of a paragraph there. But I guess you don't have to worry about it, so yeah. Just try to keep everything in the body except for JavaScript and style sheets. So let's start with a basic element, a link. You're probably one of the first things that you want to create is a link, and a link is created with the A tag, right? So A, and then you have attributes. An attribute is pretty much this, right? And you want to put in href. I'm not sure what the original meaning is, but I'm guessing it has something to do with HTTP reference or something like that, which is the reason for the A tag. Now, there are cases where you can just use plain old A tags. They don't really do anything that way except for styling the page. So let's put in a nice URL, google.ca, right? Now refresh it here, and ta-da. Now let's say you want to open it in a new tab or a new window, right? So rather than having it open or change the page, then you just change the target, right? And this is sort of coming from experience. So you make it underscore blank. Now if you were to type that in your URL thing, I'm just going to go to a site first, and then you're to type in underscore blank, right? Oh, well, it doesn't do it in Chrome, but what should happen is it should create a blank page or go in a new tab or whatever. Browsers like Firefox and whatever should do this as well. And yeah, just go back here, and here's a nice little bit here, just this random URL I've never been to, and it pretty much shows you the possible values, right? Blank parents would be if it was in an iframe, self would be the current, so that would be like the default, and top, I don't know what top would do. Let's click it. Hmm. I guess that would be the parent as well. Or, oh, sorry, that'd be a variation of the parent, so that would be the top location, right? You'll get into that more once you understand iframes. If you're looking at a lot of old tutorials, they'll use something like a frame or a frame set. Nowadays, almost no one uses that. An iframe, right? This is for if you want to embed another site or website or whatever, a page, into your site. So let's give it first the width attribute to say how many pixels we want it. So 400 pixels width, and let's give it a height of 400 pixels, right? And then with the iframe and many other objects, you're going to be using the src attribute. And let's give this google.ca. I'm pretty sure they don't have a frame breaker anyway. So refresh it, and ta-da! Google shows up in a nice iframe. It's a bit screwed up, so I'm going to make it a bit wider, 800 pixels. Right. For the most part, you're going to be using pixels as your unit. I don't suggest anything else. You can, however, use percentages. And if you set it to the width of 50%, in Chrome, I think it'll just make it half the page. Right? So if you make it smaller, it would resize as well. That's the advantages of percentages, but they can be a bit unpredictable. Like, see how the page on the in the iframe starts to go crazy, right? See, it can be pretty unpredictable because the page size changes. So you have to watch out for that. The next one is going to be a paragraph and a divider. So there isn't really much difference between a paragraph and a divider. As you can guess, it's a paragraph, right? This is a paragraph. Now you have to know that something about HTML. If you put an enter or a new line, it won't put a new line. So that's what we have: paragraph, line break tags, and divider tags. So this is a paragraph, and this is still the same sentence, right? So if I refresh it, right, it shows up as one thing. Don't know why it has a space there, but whatever. Anyway, that's a paragraph. Now I'm going to show you guys the difference. This is some text, and this is some more text. So I'm going to refresh it. Now notice how that there's an extra space in between it. And with a div, it doesn't quite do that, right? It just adds two line breaks on each side, or a line break on the start and the end, and the paragraph does two of them. So rather than using a div, you could use a line break, which is BR with backslash, whatever. You don't need, sorry, the slash, not backslash, but you don't need a slash at the end, but I recommend it for older browsers. Right, so you should get the same thing as a div right now, and put in another one, and you should have a paragraph. Now there are some advantages of paragraphs and dividers. One of them is that with a divider or a paragraph, you can set the width and whatnot. So I'm going to use a divider here, and I'm going to be introducing you guys at this point to CSS, which is cascading style sheets. So what you do is you give it the attribute of style, and almost every tag will have this attribute, so you can use this on anything pretty much. And I'm going to give it a background color of, let's use gray, and let's leave it at that, and I'll show you how it looks. There you go, gray. That's pretty ugly gray, so I'm just gonna go to hexadecimal here. Okay. Oops, wrong way. My bad, my bad. There we are. With hexadecimal coloring, it's red, green, and blue. If you know hex, you'll know that it's always in sets of 2. And it's about 3 bytes in case you know binary or something more complex. The next thing I'm going to show you guys is the width. Now, you can just do like width equals 300 or something, but not all browsers will accept that. Right? Apparently Chrome doesn't like it either. So you're going to want to use style sheets. Style sheets are more universal with attributes or whatever. So width 300 px. Now px stands for pixels, and when you're using style sheets you have to use your units. So refresh it, and notice how the words wrap, right? You can change it to word wrap, I think. I don't think that would work, but if you don't know an attribute, just Google it. It says word wrap. Oh, it's overflow. That was it. Overflow. I don't know why I never get that one, the overflow. And damn. So this is what Google is good for. You can't expect me or you to remember every little bit, because there are so many tags and there are so many attributes, and then you have to think about browser compatibility. Like one thing might work in one browser and the other might not work in the others or whatever. Hopefully you guys know the file system. Oh, I probably should have made this show my mouse, but I'll show it up in my next tutorial. Might as well do 2 or 3 today. Forgot to turn my mouse on so you guys can't actually see what my mouse is doing, which sort of sucks. Yeah, so I'm gonna quickly, I think I have enough time. Oh, now I don't. So I'll do another video here in a couple minutes, and I should go over tables, images, and yada yada, and then how to get your standard template up. So yeah, this is HotNoob, and come check out my blog at hotnoob.com. If you have any questions, comments, or whatever, please post them up, and I'll be posting up another HTML tutorial in a couple minutes.